Hey, it's Rob, and I woke up with a nosebleed this morning, so I think week 7 was just too much stress. I'm glad that's done and over with, and yeah, I'm starting week 8 now. I'm past the halfway point, so I'm gonna do a little more JavaScript practice today, and I also have a blog post due actually as soon as I get to campus. So I'm gonna present that, and I think I'm gonna try to record that also and upload that. Yeah, that's it for this morning.
Alright, so let's talk about autonomous vehicles. They're coming whether you like it or not. Analysts are saying by 2025 it'll be generally accepted globally. And
self-driving, sorry?
yeah, self-driving cars. Yeah, thanks. So even if we were to start production of autonomous vehicles tomorrow, it'll still take 15 years to happen because there are 2 billion cars and trucks on the road right now. And if we were to automate the production process itself, like make that fully autonomous, it would still take approximately 10 years for the full fleet across the world to be replaced and fully autonomous vehicles. So the future could look like this,
Wow.
whether you like it or not.
Wow. No way.
And
The guy crossing the street. They're avoiding
Alright,
the
yeah,
guy.
I don't know about that. Cars at least.
The guy's not getting hit. He was looking. He's like,
Yeah,
"That's it, I'm
basically,
walking."
yeah, so since it's coming, we should be aware of the risks. With self-driving technology where it is right now, it's having a hard time in local areas, especially in the speeds of between 30 to 40 miles per hour, but also 10 to 50 miles per hour. The reason being is because unexpected things can happen in local roads. For example, children playing, people walking their dogs, or bicyclists. Yeah, bicyclists. Even as a normal driver, it's a hard. Yeah. So self-driving cars are going to have a hard time with situations like that. You know, where it's hard to anticipate.
That's very.
Yeah. So to sum it up, highway cruising is easy, low speed is easy, intermediate is hard. That's quoting Elon Musk in 2015. So as much as we all think we're great drivers, it's not true. There is human error involved for every single driver. Maybe you're tired that day, maybe you're sleeping, maybe you got in an argument. It all affects how you drive. So on top of that, even if you do follow all rules and you're a responsible driver, if someone else drives like a jackass, you're also at risk. And my final thoughts about autonomous vehicles is, right now we know for certain that 30 to 40,000 people die in traffic accidents every year in just the US alone. So we know whether we implement this or not, lives are at stake. The difference is the results are not symmetric. So if we're too pessimistic with the technology, as in we don't implement it, it's a guaranteed 30 to 40,000 lives lost. Whereas if we do implement it, we know there's a chance of reduction of the fatalities. So estimate would be thousands of lives lost per year, as opposed to tens of thousands of lives lost per year. That's my final thoughts. Question? Danny?
So if every car, by 2025 you said,
Yeah.
would be self-driving, would you be able to override in case of it malfunctioning? Like,
It depends
or
on
you're
how.
screwed, like you get in the car, that's it. You put navigation, you're going to Dumbo, that's it, it's taking you there no matter what. You can't override, you can't press the brake or anything.
So there's going to be two factors that comes into play. It's going to be either government policy, whether they allow it or not, or the government might leave it up to the manufacturer to decide whether that's a function, whether you could take over or not.
One more question, sorry. Would traffic be better? Like would there be any traffic in general? Like, you know, there's rush hour traffic and all that stuff. Since cars are moving smoothly and not like there's not one crazy guy switching 100 lanes going 100 miles an hour, that really causes traffic. Would it stop traffic? Would it limit it?
So the consensus is it would remove the rubber band effect. So like if one car slows down, the other person has a lag, like they perceive it slower, then it kind of affects the whole highway, like a wave, kind of. So if every car knows its distance and it can read, it could project when the other car is going to brake. It should eliminate that rubber band effect and make the highway more efficient.
Wow. That's very good.
Yeah, questions?
Yeah, it's more of a statement. Two things. You said about the statistics, about how it will prevent a certain amount of people from dying.
Yeah.
You also stated how, we're human for a reason. Humans can do things that other animals, machines or whatever can't do. Like you said, be able to be able to do things in a moment, to react and respond to things that aren't normal. So the stats speak to how many people die per year driving based on human error, and it suggests that if there was autonomous driving, that those numbers would go down. It doesn't really speak to how many errors we will gain from the fact that they're not human, and they won't be able to address the things that humans are able to sort of address. So it sort of seems to me as if, again, it's a statement. I know it's not your fact, but it's a statement as to, I don't think that it accurately, it doesn't accurately reflect or statistically say what's the opposite sides. I know maybe last year or so, maybe a year ago, there was an incident where they had one autonomous vehicle on the road and it crashed into somebody. And they tried to blame the person, tried to blame the human, saying the human shouldn't have been here. But again, it goes back down to the whole thing about that, you're right, that a machine can't do what humans can do no matter what you do.
Yeah, so with this, no one can accurately gauge what the projected, fatality percentage would be in 2025 because there's just not enough data sets. Like there are less than 1 million autonomous vehicles on the road. I'm trying to compare to a data set with 2 billion. So you can't have that kind of accuracy. The only thing that they can project is based off of how much time this amount of vehicles has been on the road compared to this amount of human drivers that have been on the road, and then compare it like that, which is, it's not the most accurate, but they can safely say it's more safe than if there were 1 million human drivers versus this 1 million autonomous vehicles fleet. Like fleet versus fleet, the autonomous vehicles are going to drive better. The reason why is because every vehicle learns from the other. So when you get a new vehicle on the road, it already knows the mistakes that the previous 999,000 have made. Whereas a human, a new driver isn't going to know anything. He has to earn his or her own experience in order to grow. So that's the difference. It's growing, like it's scaling in knowledge as opposed to a human, it's linear. So yeah, does that help though?
Yeah, it makes a statement. Like I say again, I could argue back and say that, yeah, you're right. We have statistics today to show what we do, but we don't have statistics today about what's going to happen in the future, and we're assuming that that's going to be way better about what it does today. And that's, all I'm just saying is that it's interesting. It's interesting thinking about the argument that machines will perform better than humans and will be better for us in the future. It's an interesting argument.
Yeah. I don't have the answer to that one.
Yeah.
Okay. Jesse?
Oh, I guess that kind of addressed my question. So.
Okay. Cool. Any more questions? Okay, thank you guys.